people talk about VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And I don't like this man very much, but he said it brilliantly. In a world, we have more and more unknown unknowns, and how do we deal with that? And I came up with a very simple recipe called the day after tomorrow. In your leadership roles, how much time you spend on today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. And what is today? It's the 100 emails or more that you get every day. And it's 100 emails every morning that when you wake up, you don't even know that these 100 are going to ruin your day. And that's what happens. It's difficult to change that. But that's not the problem. The problem is tomorrow. How do companies like yours look at tomorrow? Most of the time, you extrapolate today and hope it's approximately the same. And that's why this is now my favorite season of the year, budget season. I love watching companies like yours do budgets. Budgets is a yearly sadistical exercise. It's a ritual where people put in fake news in Excel, which is consolidated into something that never works. And we do this ritual every year. And then there's the day after tomorrow. New ideas, new technologies, new capabilities that could change the rules of the game. How much time you spend on today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow? Many people say 70, 20, 10. Reality is 93, 7, and 0. Problem is value. Today is very important. Tomorrow is very important. This is crucial if you want to survive. I've written a book on this. I was very happy with my model. I went to my first workshop and I completely bombed. This was on a flip chart. I apologize for the language, but the CEO was an Australian guy. They're known for their colorful language. And he said, Mr. Hinssen, your model is wrong. I said, how could this be wrong? He said, you forgot something. He went to the flip chart, took a big red pen, and he drew this onto the flip chart. I said, what is that? He said, that's the shit of yesterday we have to clean up. And that creates negative value. I thought, wow, that's really good. So I rewrote the book with the soy in it, and I asked you this question, in your day-to-day jobs, what is your balance between thinking about the day after tomorrow and cleaning up the shit of yesterday? And we're now in a world where innovation is no longer a luxury. When I talk about innovation, people say, oh, product innovation, a new product. Sometimes you're smart enough in your company to think of something you've never seen ever before. This is my favorite product innovation. It's the Logitech Spotlight. I've been using clickers my entire life. And then some genius put a gyroscope into this, and I can do that. That is, wow. Logitech Spotlight. I'm sure many of you will buy it on Amazon right now. Yes. Some companies seem to be better. Look at Apple. Look at how they were constantly thinking about product innovation. And people thought, wow, and now it seems to be going down a little bit. And sometimes new products are bad. For the old people in the audience, 1985, Coke introduced New Coke. It was terrible, disgusting. It was only on the shelves for 77 days. And after this disastrous time cover, they pulled it and replaced it with the old Coke, and they called it Coke Classic. And they sold more Coke than ever before. And this always inspires me to have people thinking, oh, that's a really good idea. I mean, why don't we introduce a new product that our customers hate so much that they're glad to buy our old stuff? I would not recommend that strategy. But today, many of your companies are going to go into new markets. You'll say, oh my God, we should expand into new innovative markets. Be careful. This is my favorite example of what can go horribly wrong. In 1997, Colgate, who was the king of toothpaste, had a meeting like this with all his senior people. Said we should go for new markets. And they said, yes. And what market did they go for? Lasagna. I mean, the idea alone is just disgusting when you think about it. They lost hundreds of millions of dollars getting into frozen food with the lasagna, with the Colgate brand name. Because how could they be stupid? My favorite example now, Amazon. Biggest online retailer in the West and biggest cloud provider on the planet. Amazon Web Services is bigger than Google, bigger than IBM, bigger than Microsoft. And they are the beating heart. And when he introduced it, the cover of Business Week was Amazon's risky bet. Bezos wants to run your company with his web technology. Wall Street wishes he would mind the store. Business Week said, lasagna. The easiest thing to do for you is service innovation. Don't change the product, keep the product, change the way you interact with customers. Netflix started out as a DVD online business. People would stuff a DVD in an envelope and mail it to you. And then in 2000, an IT guy came out of the basement and said, why don't we stream it? Same product, but a different interface to your customer. These are the kiosks. This is the stock of McDonald's, and they went up like crazy because of the kiosks. Service innovation, and when they teamed up with Uber Eats, McDelivery made McDonald's the #1 food on Uber Eats. Some of you are going to face model innovation. Look at music. First iTunes and then Spotify. And now even Apple realizes that iTunes doesn't cut it anymore, only 10 years later. Look at mobility. This is yellow cabs going down, and this is Uber going up in New York City. And that's why the BMWs and the Daimlers realize it's not selling cars alone, it's mobility as a service. This is going to give you a little bit of a canvas on how to think about innovation. But that's the easy part. If you want to really transform as a company into a phoenix, you're going to have to focus much more on customers. Logical. You're going to have to figure out how to deal with the platform. But let me take the last 10 minutes to think about the two aspects where I think you have a huge impact on. The first is culture. There's a lot of people who listen to me and watch some of my videos online or read my books and say, but I don't know. I only meet two types of people. I meet people who know what they do, and I meet people who do not know what they do. And it sounds trivial, but if I would ask you here, in this esteemed organization, to please stand up if in your professional capacity, in facility management, you have no clue what you're doing. Well, nobody stands up. But this man is the king of people who is constantly doing things that's never been done before. He's the king of people who don't know what they're doing. He's constantly doing stuff that is outside of a comfort zone. When he says, I'm going to land a rocket vertically on a barge in the ocean with 9-meter waves, there must be thousands of NASA engineers saying, you can't do that. He says, I'm going to do it anyway. So in your team, in your company, what is the percentage of people who know what they do and people who are comfortable doing things they've never done before? And I've had the pleasure to work in startups. I started 3 technology companies when I was younger. And in a startup, this is the idea. You have 99% people in your team who are comfortable doing things they've never done before. This is the 1%. These 1%ers, they're the serial gray-haired entrepreneur advisors on the board. And if that company changes, that number changes. If you walk into a Facebook, it's now 50-50. You walk into a Google, it's almost 80-20. And then I get invited by a bank. And in a bank, you have 99% people who know exactly what they're doing. And they've done it that way for 23 years. By the way, in an insurance company, it can be even more pronounced than that. But who are these 1%ers? I call them positive troublemakers and frustrated enthusiasts. Apple calls them the crazy ones. And I believe they could be the engine of innovation. But the biggest problem in many large organizations, these 1%ers don't spend all their energy innovating. They spend most of their energy fighting the 99%. And if you want to change anything, it's not technology, it's that. And it's easy when you're a startup. You can start in the garage and build Hewlett-Packard. You can start in a garage and build Apple. You can start in a garage and build Google. You need a garage. That's a very important ingredient. But in the end, it boils down to leadership. And I believe we're going to go through a transition where keeping everybody happy is not going to be an option anymore. And many of you are in big organizations with structures and hierarchies that don't function anymore, and then you do stupid things. This man became the most famous passenger on United Airlines when he was bloodily dragged off a United Airlines flight. We all remember that. It went horribly on social media. And people said, how is this possible? And 2 days after the incident, the CEO of United went on national TV and he said, we did not provide our supervisors, managers, and individuals with the proper tools, policies, and procedures to allow them to use their common sense. That's terrible. It doesn't get any worse than that. But what are you doing to escape that? How many of you spend most of your waking moments in environments that are not productive towards the day after tomorrow? How many of you have structures that don't work? And I spend now a lot of time taking executives like yours, and we go to Silicon Valley or Shenzhen, and we look at the startups, and just last week, this was what I did. I took one of the biggest insurance companies in the world, and we showed them the startups, and these executives said, oh my God, they sit on wood, and they bring their dog to work, and they have meetings around ping pong tables, and more dogs. And these people go back and say, we should hire more dogs. And I think, no, that's the wrong root cause analysis. You are privileged because if you think about the future of work and the role you could play, it's about reducing friction. That's what a next generation fundamentally wants to have. It's about stepping up productivity in ways that could really benefit the corporation, and it's about boosting collaboration. This, in my opinion, is where you can play a pivotal role. We're now in a situation where the who, the what, the why, the where, and the context is all being captured. Information is no longer the issue because we have an enormous amount of sensors, turning that into embedded intelligence. You guys are privileged to turn insights into foresights, and you can play the crucial role in a world where technology becomes the new normal. You can be the enablers of digital becoming human. That is a wonderful position to be in. Reduce friction, stepping up productivity, and boosting collaboration. And it's this transition. We are going to see one of the biggest shifts on how we think about companies when we go from static to fluid, when we embrace the age of networks, because that's what the next generation fundamentally believes in. If you go to Google now, even Google, 100,000 employees is worried it's going to become the next General Motors or Kodak. And all they talk about is psychological safety. This is the dumbest slide in the world. It doesn't work like that. Psychological safety is being comfortable in trying things and failing. It's about trying things and experimenting, and it's the only way to nurture innovation. I love this quote, I never fail. I either win or I learn. And I know it's easy to like the quote, but it's incredibly difficult to put that into practice when you go back on Monday. The second thing Google found out is it is correlated with cognitive diversity. We've talked about gender diversity and ethnic, but cognitive. You know what? It turns out if you put the same people in the room who've had the same careers, the same training, the same MBAs, they come up with the same ideas. Duh. Cognitive diversity are correlated. And I believe that maybe you're not the people in the company who will focus on the what of innovation, but I think you are the people that will focus on the how. The next generation of people that you want to welcome is going to have a different skill set. These are the job openings today. In October 2019 of Goldman Sachs, they used to hire economists and bankers. Everything that is blue is a tech job. Every company becomes a tech company. And reskilling and upskilling will be crucial. It's a different mindset. We're going to have to enable people to take risks and be more comfortable as entrepreneurs than just managers. And in the end, we're going to have to make sure that you build environments that people want to belong to, that embraces a new generation, which has a different perspective on what is the we and what is the me, what is the individual and what is the collective.